What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk Live here on DSM Media's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter channels. I am one half of your co-host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Check him out on Twitter at Scotty Drowned. My man, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just getting through the day. Just got off work a little bit ago. But yeah, just getting acquainted with a new position at work, a new schedule. Got a lot more freedom, and I get to make a lot more content these days. So I'm having fun with that, but adjusting and ready for some Thursday night football. I know it's not the greatest matchup, but there is a little things I'm watching in this game that keep it interesting, right? Money wise, I guess you could say that increases the odds. But I'm happy to be here with you as always to get into the NFL slate, start out week 6 right.
For sure. And as always, guys, check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. And check out the link tree in our bio. If you guys want to be interactive on tonight's show, head over to the YouTube channel specifically. That's where we can pull up your comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, whatever you guys want to get into. Throw it in the comment section. Tell us we suck. Whatever you guys got, we greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to do that. But you hit it right on the head, man. It doesn't seem like a great matchup. But let's be honest, all the other primetime matchups that we thought, oh, my God, we get some great football tonight have all been clunkers. So maybe we get the reverse jinx, the opposite side of things tonight, a game that looks really poor heading into it. Could turn out to have some interesting storylines and some things play out. Two very up and down teams. Well, obviously the Commanders being more down than up so far this season. Two quarterbacks with a lot of question marks surrounding them at the moment. So we'll get into all of that later. First, we have to start with a Monday Night Football recap. The Chiefs squeeze out a win. They were down early, big to the Las Vegas Raiders. Devontae Adams had a big game. Travis Kelce, only 25 receiving yards, but 4 touchdowns. Pissed off Patrick Mahomes wills his team to a win. The Chiefs improved to 4-1, while the Las Vegas Raiders are now 1-4 to start the season. Scotty, thoughts on this game, and does it really mean that Vegas is done? You see what Devontae Adams did post game. We can talk about that because I know you have a interesting standpoint on it. Maybe not on what he did, but kind of on the result of it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure. As far as Las Vegas, you start to think they're just about done. And, I had that idea coming into the show. So when I went and looked it up, I obviously looked into their future schedule, right?
Right.
And when you look at it, Texans, Saints, Jags, Colts, it's about as favorable as you could ask for at 1-4 right now with those 4 games coming up in order to get back above 500 before you would then play the Denver Broncos. And boom, you go in that you're asking them to win 5 straight, right? But there's not a more realistic time on their schedule than these next 4 games that they could do that. And their last 2 performances were pretty good, I would say. I mean, I know they give up that lead to the Chiefs, but that was still a good showing, given you only lost to the Chiefs by 1, but you were up by 17 points at one point. So
let me rephrase. We should consider them out of the mix for the AFC West, but not out of the mix for a 6 or 7 seed in the AFC where across the board's been entirely inconsistent. Could, if you get back to 4-4, 5-4 type of football, you have a shot there.
Really
I just don't see them. Yeah. Well, that's really hard to begin with.
Really hard.
You're not making up 3 games a third of the way through the year on the Kansas City Chiefs. Not happening.
No, not any chance. I don't believe that at all. Just hoping, maybe you get to the second point or the second place standing in the division, maybe above the Chargers, who have 2 losses right now. They're 3-2.
Yeah.
But still, it's really hard. I know those, like I said, it's a favorable 4-game stretch, but it's still really hard to win 4 games in a row, 5 games in a row, even 3 games in a row. It's really hard to do to play good football that many weeks standing. And the Jags aren't pushovers, Saints aren't pushovers either. So
you never know what you're getting.
It's a grim outlook. It's a grim outlook, I'll say.
100%, man. I think they're done. I think, and then you watch what transpires post game, which we can get into in a second. A lot of crazy storylines that came out of this game that kind of take away from a very good primetime football game. What was the 31-29, I believe, was the final.
30,
with the
30,
Raiders 30-29, with the Raiders having a chance to, come back and take the lead. Devontae Smith to big time receptions, big time touchdowns.
It's funny, I did that the other day too. Devontae Smith.
Oh my God.
I did that the other day.
I just said that. Devontae Adams, excuse me. Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow colliding on the last play of the game.
Oh my goodness.
You have the back-to-back days in week 5 of 2 of the worst roughing the passer calls that I've ever seen in my life. The Tom Brady one we didn't even talk too much about on Monday. Maybe worse, considering there was some body fall on contact with the second one.
Yeah.
Because Tom's was he literally just laid him down.
Yeah.
The second one, like I said, you can make a case it's tiny bit. It's a fumble.
It's a fumble.
I'm so confused. Chris Jones had the ball already.
Yeah.
So it should have been fumble, ball, and when he lands on Derek Carr, contact on the ground, play over, going the other way. Not roughing the passer.
They didn't even give it a chance, man. They didn't even give it a chance. And those are the plays I hate. Those are the plays I hate. And you look at that, man, and it's like, with Tom Brady, don't get me wrong, it's still a wrong call, but at least it's Tom Brady. It's the GOAT. You know what I mean? This is Derek Carr that we're talking about here, man.
But like I said, reversely, at least the Derek Carr one. At least the Derek Carr one showed like a slither of a fraction of something that goes into the rule, right? Like physicality. Yeah, exactly. Even though it's not it's not a foul, it's not a penalty, but it shows a look like this dude. Like, put it this way, Mahomes got twirled around and thrown into the dirt in the same turn that Brady got turned, but Brady got laid down. Mahomes got thrown. No flag there. It's too much of an inconsistent rule.
It's weird,
and they need to be reviewable. They really do, because it's a 15-yard penalty. It needs to be reviewed. Remember years ago they had the one PI challenge.
That's what I was going to ask. Did they do away with that? Because I don't.
Yeah,
see
that's
it all
gone.
Anymore. Okay, that's gone. Yeah.
Why not do something like that for a call this drastic, right?
Like maybe just one call. Maybe not. Maybe it's not PI. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not any specific call. Maybe you can challenge a pass interference call.
Yeah, nothing nitpicky. There's no holding call. You can't bring back. But yeah. I feel like you should be able to challenge a pick play or an ineligible man downfield. Something where it's like
that too much.
Something where it's too close and they call it one way. But the roughing the passer one is obviously the big storyline going forward. But like I said, that storyline takes away from the greatness of what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were able to do. Down so big early at home in that game. And, man, don't they just look like we keep sitting here and we watch what the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen are able to do. But you and I have had the same conversation. Now, the beautiful thing as a football fan is we get to find out this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get to find out this weekend what we're about to experience. But it just feels like we're hyping up this Buffalo's the more talented team. Meanwhile, they have all these injuries on the back end of their defense right now. And they've done nothing. Josh Allen has done nothing to overthrow Patrick Mahomes. Is the best quarterback in the league. And the Bills, the last time they matched up, lost to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So we're like, it just feels like the Chiefs, even though they're a top 3 team in the league, still have somewhat of a disrespect to their name at the moment.
Yeah.
This Sunday, I know we're not talking about it right now, is going to be incredible to watch. And I'm so happy that the Eagles play at nighttime.
Yeah.
So that is that game on at 1 or 4?
It's at 4:25.
Damn it.
Why?
Damn it. Well, I mean, we're all Philly fans here, and if the Phillies get to a Game 5 in Atlanta, that game is at 4:30 on Sunday. So
I forgot.
That's going to interfere with that one, but we'll figure all of that out, man. It's taken away from what the Chiefs were doing. That's basically what I wanted to say. Last thing on this game, after the game's over, Devontae Adams walking off the field, shoves a cameraman who was, right in front of him, walks past him. Thoughts on this whole situation? Because part of me disagrees with you, part of me agrees with the fact that we joke about it, oh, if Devontae Adams pushed me, I'd be like, oh, my neck. But it is bullshit. The fact that he was actually brought up in a municipal court and charged with misdemeanor assault or whatever the hell he was charged with. That's so ridiculous. That's where I'm at. But at the end of the day, bro, he's wrong. You cannot do what he did.
He's wrong. He's wrong. I know Devontae Adams is wrong. But I mean, there's just got to be some type of humanistic standpoint here. Is this cameraman a Kansas City Chiefs fan or something? That's my line that I'm drawing. You know what I mean? The NFL, you're just gonna allow one person that works for the NFL to sue another person that works for the NFL. That doesn't really make sense to me. Press charges on somebody else.
My question would be, though, does that cameraman technically work for – I don't think he would technically be an employee. He's probably outsourced. He probably works for, the company that does whatever. But at the end of the day, you just can't do it because you are – when you are an athlete, a celebrity, you make that money, you are held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And whether this dude was in your personal space or not,
there's a lot that went into the end of that game, and I can't help but look at each situation. It's not just an upset player going out and then pushing a cameraman out of his face. He literally caught the game-winning pass in the game and didn't catch it, got called out, and so he's going through all these frustrating moments, just lost the game. It's not an excuse. I'm not saying that, but
it's a humanistic standpoint.
You're going to get in a man's face after he's coming off the field
high emotions
right now.
I feel
you're going to get in his face, snap a picture, and do all this, and he just pushes you out of the way. It was a little bit too much from Devontae Adams. It was a lot too much from Devontae Adams. Should have just kind of moved him out of the way if you're feeling that way.
I mean,
but I think to take it to this point where Devontae Adams is getting a misdemeanor,
he filed
if I
charges.
Put somebody at a game, is somebody gonna? I don't know. Maybe they would though.
Come on, man.
It's man. We joke around. You can't put yourself in that position.
You can't put your hands on another man. You can't put your hands on another human being, no matter how pissed off or upset you are in the moment, unless that person put his hands on you. The guy didn't do that. Was he invading your personal space? Yeah, but you're a professional athlete. You're a superstar of the team. They're always going to be in your personal space. You feel me? But let's not get it twisted. The gentleman is not injured. He's not injured. But we all joke around. We joke around the group chat, man. If a millionaire shoved me, not unprovoked, but when I didn't touch him, I'm joking. I wouldn't, but you get my point. People will do that, and as you're seeing right now, that gentleman is deciding to do that.
I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. I don't know. That's just the way I was raised, though. But I get it was a bad move by Devontae Adams, nonetheless.
Scotty said, "You're going to get in my personal space. I'm going to get you out of my space."
I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not an athlete, and I don't like people in my personal space like that. So I can see.
Me neither, man.
Feel that way, man. But you are right. He's on a pedestal, and he is in a big spotlight where you simply can't make those mistakes. But I'm like, if he gets suspended, that's where I would kind of draw the line. If this one dude wants to, make personal decisions to, get misdemeanor charges put on Devontae Adams, make him go through court, that is literally his right. He can do that. And ultimately,
by the way,
at the NFL, you're going to
never going to reach court.
Devontae Adams and Deshaun Watson's coming back this season. It's these inconsistencies that bother me. Aaron Donald's playing. He doesn't have a misdemeanor charge. He was slamming helmets on other men. So
Draymond Green put his teammate to sleep.
See, I don't know. It's a wild world, man.
I got on another show, maybe a Scotty talk show, whatever. Right. I got to talk about that situation.
We do got to talk about that because that was wrong, man. That was really bad.
And I love this is off topic, but I love some of other athletes or other NBA players taking to social media, and there's a lot of them are saying how wrong Dre was and how effed up it was.
Yeah.
But then there's some that are mad that the video. They're more mad that the video leaked and it wasn't kept in house. Oh, he snuck. But let's not get it twisted. I get they were facing each other.
Yeah.
He snuck his teammate.
Well, because if that's my teammate. Is Draymond Green about to drop me? Really over basketball?
I get it. I get it. Jordan Poole put his hands on him first. But Jordan Poole gave him a little push.
No, I'm not even saying that.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, I get it. At first, Jordan Poole initiated he put his hands on Draymond first. That was basically to get Draymond out of his face. If you're Jordan Poole, even though you just push your teamate, you're not thinking he's throwing a right hand over two dudes right now.
No, not at all.
And my God, he went to sleep.
Like that,
Scotty, that's assault. Like
that is seriously. Yeah, I would love to talk about that further at some point, man. We got to take that over to Scotty Talks NBA or something, because man, that is it's actually insane. The video was insane.
But this is NFL Turf Talk, and doing so, this is our weekly Thursday updated Week 6 power rankings. I think for the first time outside of I think even Week 1 we had a 10 team out that the other one had in. We have the same top 10, just slightly different order. So not too much to overanalyze or break down here. At number 1, I'm keeping it with the Philadelphia Eagles. You're keeping it with the Buffalo Bills. Even though we have them reversed, I think we share the same mindset, right? So last week I had the Eagles 1. Last week you had the Bills 1. To me, in power rankings, it doesn't matter how impressive another team's victory is. If you do nothing to make me think otherwise, meaning if you win that game that week, you are not being bumped down. It doesn't matter if it's a close game and the number 2 team blew them out. So Eagles win. I keep them at 1. Bills win in big fashion. You keep them at 1. Obviously, we still have them. The other 2.
Looking forward to this weekend, though. I'm hoping for some shifts.
There you go, man. And very well could, because those Buffalo Bills that you have at number 1 play both of our number 3 here, the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think there's any there should not be a question that these are the top 3 teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
100%. There just shouldn't be. I don't see a world in where you watch these games and you think those aren't the best 3 teams. And I know I have the Eagles at number 1, but I would argue if you're an outside person, if you're not even a Philadelphia fan that's watching this team this closely, I would argue that the Bills and the Chiefs damn sure better be in your top 3.
Yeah.
Regardless of whoever else the third team is. But those are my top 3 right here. Your top 3 as well. Not much to really go over. Had them 1, you had them 1. They won the games. Leave it at that. Right?
I guess what I would ask you, is there any way this Chiefs-Bills game goes to where anybody could take the Philadelphia Eagles spot if they beat the Cowboys? Like, is there anything?
No.
Say the Chiefs come out and blow the Bills out, or the Bills blow the Chiefs out. Is there any way?
No, because I firmly stand on, if you are my top dog and you do nothing to discredit yourself, regardless of what outside sources do, other teams do, you will not be punished. So if the Philadelphia Eagles head into the bye week 6-0 on a game-ending field goal with 2 seconds left, or they win by 42, it doesn't matter. They will be number 1, regardless of how that Bills-Chiefs game goes. But the Bills-Chiefs game will definitely, obviously, whoever wins that matchup is going to be bumped ahead of the other or stay the way it is. But I do think it's more of a necessity for the Bills to come away with a win in terms of power rankings and overall view of them this year. Because like we're talking, it was a conversation preseason with you and I on the show when everyone had the Bills number 1 heading in the year. Everyone had not everyone, but a lot of people had Josh Allen, the best quarterback, the number 1 rated quarterback heading in the year. And I'm like, whoa. What happened? When did this changing of the guard, this new narrative come about? So it is important that if for those people and for the Buffalo Bills as an organization and as a team finally beat the Chiefs, Josh Allen finally beats Patrick Mahomes, and then I will continue to put the Bills ahead of them. But if the Bills lose this game, they're going to drop a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially if a team like the Ravens pull out another big win or the Bucks pull out a win. The Bills could drop to 3 or 4. Or 4, I should say, not 3, because if they lose, they're 3 anyway.
I can't see them dropping the 4. Not below the Ravens for me. The most they could drop is to 3, and I feel like
who do the Ravens play this week?
The Ravens play the Giants.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's not impressive enough of a victory for them to
put them up that. Yeah, like even if the Chiefs lose, I'm pretty sure the way that game is going to go, I'm going to keep the Chiefs at number 3 even. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to move them
It depends,
down. But it does depend how this game goes. Like, if Buffalo goes out there and gets blown out, There's no telling what can happen in
The
these
game is in
rankings,
Buffalo,
right?
though,
It's
is it
fluid.
not?
Huh?
The game's in Buffalo too, correct?
The game is in Kansas City?
Is it?
No. Let me look. Because I wrote something down here and I
Hold
said
on.
the Chiefs
I
host
got
the
you.
Chiefs, so that's definitely not right.
Oh, it is in Kansas City.
Okay, it is in Kansas City because I have
Okay, so
Buffalo
that
at
does make a
KC.
little bit of a difference.
So I mean, yeah, Kansas City in Kansas City. But if Buffalo wins that game, that's even more impressive, right? So it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to let it play out. No need to hypothesize on my power rankings until something happens. So yeah, that's an interesting tidbit there, though. Mahomes an underdog at home. I did see that
For
earlier
the
this
first
week.
time ever. It's wild, man. And for the time being, I don't know if I can bet against them. I can't find myself to do it. But anywho, getting past
Bet
our
the
top
over.
3 here. Yeah, for real. Getting past here, you and I have the next 2 teams the same. The board just flipped, the Buccaneers and the Ravens. The only reason I had the Bucs ahead of the Ravens is, like I said, same kind of system here. I had the Bucs higher than the Ravens last week.
Yeah.
Bucs win a game, even though the Ravens win against Cincinnati is more impressive than the Bucs. Both teams win. If I have the one team ahead of them last week, I'm not going to deduct points from them. So I'll keep the Bucs at 4. The offense starting to look a little more smooth. Getting some players back as we're getting Chris Godwin back. Julio Jones is still injured. We'll see how much of an impact that continues to make. But nonetheless, the Baltimore Ravens are knocking right on the door of being a top 3, top 4 team. Like I said, man, they have 2 losses this year, and both losses are by a combined 14 seconds.
Right.
So
Right.
they're on the doorstep of being an undefeated team, and they played a very difficult schedule. Their losses are to the healthy Dolphins team, to Josh Allen and the Bills. They just beat the Bengals. So the Ravens have not had an easy schedule so far, and they're finding ways to win still.
And that's ultimately why I do have them up there, because I'm looking at my rankings. So last week I had the Bucs at 6, I had the Ravens at 7. So I moved both of them up.
Okay.
The Ravens win was just a little more impressive for me, beating the Bengals, beating a division rival. I know the Falcons are a division rival, but no business.
Let's not kid ourselves there.
They didn't even cover. No, I'm, I'm kidding.
Hey, Falcons.
I'm
Falcons,
kidding, bro.
5-0. 5-0 against the spread.
Hell yeah. But I had the Ravens. I just put the Ravens a little bit above the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I'm not going to argue with you there. I would agree either way. I think it gets interesting because 6 for me is brand new. I know you had San Fran in last week. 6 for me was kind of me. Okay, well, that game, kind of where you were last week, I'm there this week.
Yep.
That one game with Jimmy G, I think it was against the Broncos. That was kind of a blip, right? Or was it the Broncos that they got primetime?
Yeah, well, that was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So you realized that was a blip that last week when they just demolished the Rams.
And then beat the shit out of the Panthers on the road this week.
Just beat the shit.
By the way, if I'm being
honest
here, I made a mistake. Casey did not make a mistake. We have 6 and 7 the same, but flipped. Realistically, we have them the same. I did not mean to put Dallas that far ahead. I do think they cracked my top 10. They cracked my top 7, but I'm not putting them ahead of the Niners. That was a mistake by me.
How about the Cowboys, though? Nonetheless, number 7, they're new in my rankings as well.
They're my number 7 as well, even though the graphic doesn't say it. You have to give credit, man, because at one point or another, I can continue to say, oh, well, Cooper Rush isn't it, which I don't think he is, but that defense is legit. That front 7 is legit. And it doesn't matter who they play. We know that as Eagles fans, you play who's on your schedule, right? So they're 4-0 since Dak went out, since I thought you could stick a fork in that team. They have a chance to take the lead in the NFC East, in which their division leader at the moment is the last remaining undefeated team in the league.
Yeah.
So they're playing good football. And we'll get into that game on Sunday.
Obviously.
But you have to give credit where it's due, regardless of how much we hate them. They are playing at a high level right now with a backup quarterback.
Hey, it's as simple as that. They're 4-1. Their defense is definitely a top 10 defense right now, maybe even top 5 with the way they're playing lately. And they're running the football. And that's something that has been asked of Mike McCarthy, asked of this offense for the last couple of years. They've had Zeke, they've had Pollard. This hasn't changed. They've actually had better offensive lines in the past, and they've refused to run the football. They love to go with the Dak, air it out. My most interesting thing is when Dak comes back, whether that's this Sunday or in the future when he does come back, do they still play like that? But they're a very solid rush in the football team. The Cooper Rush has shown that he won't make mistakes in the big moment. That's kind of a big
That's what
thing,
happens
right?
when you. That's what
Manager.
happens when you complete 10 passes.
Hey,
And
you only throw 16. So I mean, hey,
that conversation is getting very annoying to me. I'm really getting tired of hearing about Cooper Rush. I'm getting very sick and tired of hearing about it.
It's a little.
I'm giving the credit. They are 7 of my top 10 power rankings. I'm giving the team credit. It is not because of Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Let's get one thing very effing clear. So let's stop talking about how Cooper Rush can go into the link and beat the Eagles. If the Eagles lose this game, it is not because of Cooper Rush. It is because of that defense. It is because they're able to establish the run, which they should not be able to do because the Eagles should be able to just stack the box and make Cooper Rush beat you, which he will not. But I'm getting tired of hearing about it. Yes, they are a better team with Dak Prescott. Yes, does Dak need to tinker his game a bit? Do they need to continue to run the ball when Dak's back? Yes. Does Dak have to limit interceptions and turnovers? Yes. He has to play similar style of football, but let's not get it twisted. Cooper Rush is a borderline backup quarterback. Dak Prescott is a borderline top 10 quarterback. So let's stop with that whole conversation. Should Dak get his job back? Are you kidding me? This is like when Foles took over for Wentz, and Wentz was playing at an MVP level, but because they kept winning, should we trade Wentz and keep Foles? Are you joking? You don't want a full season of this backup quarterback playing.
What a time.
But anyway, that's my little Cooper Rush rant that I had to get out for you. But
here
we are, 8, 9, and 10. Again, same teams. Not 8 and 9 flipped. Number 10 the same. Number 10 is the third team in this NFC beast of a division. It is no more the NFC least, my man. The 4-1 New York Football Giants, coming off of a major win in London over the Green Bay Packers, who thankfully are out of both of our top 10s. Until they prove us otherwise. The Giants are as borderline of a top 10 as you can get. Do I firmly believe they are a top 10 team? No, I think there's probably a handful of teams that are better than them and would beat them if they matched up.
They got to prove it.
But again, you have to give the credit where it's due. They just did win a big game. Brian Dable has changed the energy in that locker room. Daniel Jones looks efficient. Saquon Barkley seems to be back. So the Giants are playing good football. They're 4-1. The Vikings are 4-1. The Chargers seem to finally be getting their motor back. Justin Herbert looks healthier. Austin Eckler's getting going. Keenan Allen seems to be back. So I like that kind of order right there.
Yeah, no, I like everything you said. For me, the Vikings Chargers stayed in the same place. I believe it was the Packers that ultimately fell out of the top 10. I'm trying to remember who
I had two. I had the Packers and I had the Bengals drop out of my top 10.
I had the Packers and the Rams. That's who I had drop out, the Rams.
Actually, did I have 3?
I might have 3 as well because I added the Cowboys, 49ers.
I added the Cowboys and Giants. Wow,
I can't even remember.
Keep going. I got to see who I had.
Check it out for sure. Let me know because it might be the same team. We might be forgetting somebody here, but nonetheless, number 10 for me, the Giants, right? And I agree with everything you said. Like I said, they play really tough. They play the Packers really tough. And one of the things that factored in for me was the fact that the Giants actually played the Cowboys the toughest that we have seen them be played since Cooper Rush came in as quarterback. Maybe you could argue the Bengals as well, but I would ultimately argue that the Giants have played the Cowboys the best out of all the opponents they played so far. Along with that, I had teams like the Bengals there, Browns, 3 losses each there. Dolphins look like they're on a free fall. Dolphins is the other team that I had up there. That's exactly who fell out for me. But the Dolphins, they're free falling right now. It looks like they're going to have Skylar Thompson starting at quarterback this weekend. So they had to be taken out of the top 10. Rams have 3 losses. I had to take them out. I couldn't put them in over the Giants right now. And then the Titans, they lost to the Giants, right? I can't put them in, although they're kind of turning it around right now. And the Packers, they just lost to the Giants, right? They can't go over the Giants. So I had
the Packers, the Rams, and the Vikings out of my top 10 last week. Vikings were that borderline 11-12 scenario, even though they were winning. They're in, the Giants are in, the Cowboys are in. You have the Cowboys, the Giants, and I think you just said San Fran as well was the third team you did not have last week. So those are our updated week 6 power rankings.
Yes, sir.
It is time to get into it's time to get into the big game, which is the Washington Commanders heading to Soldier Field to take on Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. I'm gonna lost of words with this one. I am hopeful that it's just an entertaining football game. I'm hopeful for my former man, Commander Carson, that he goes out there and has some success tonight after his coach completely and utterly threw him under the bus. I don't care how he wants to spin what he meant to say. You just don't answer. You've been around the block. You've been in this league. You've been doing interviews. You've been a head coach for a very long time, Ron Rivera. You know what to say and what not to say. They didn't just misconstrue your answer of quarterback. So you can spin it however you want, even if it's what you meant. Shouldn't have gave the response you said. Especially when, listen, I know people want to get on Carson, and Carson has been part of a problem, part of a culture problem there as well, probably. But the issues going on in Washington is not the quarterback. You have a defensive-minded head coach who threw said quarterback under the bus, who has his defense playing at the 27th or 28th ranked defense in the entire National Football League. They are one of the worst teams running the football. Carson Wentz is fourth in passing. Hasn't turned the ball over too much. Some missed opportune turnovers, don't get me wrong, and that's kind of been the issue for him in Indy. And now those are the ones that get magnified. Don't get it twisted. But he hasn't been the overall problem with this team. So when you want to give a shitty response like that and throw this guy under the bus, who's kind of been a scapegoat the last couple of seasons, part of you starts to feel bad, man, because Phil brought it up this morning. You are probably looking at the end of Carson Wentz having a starting job in this league. If we're being honest, like at the end of the day, even though he's not the problem, this team who we thought he could help elevate, they're 1-4, dude. Yeah. With a chance to be 1-5 tonight. They're underdogs against the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I do got a couple notes here, man, of just what I'm looking at tonight and kind of, just Carson Wentz in general. 20 sacks so far this season. Only had 32 the entire season last year on the Colts. He's been sacked 20 times already this season through what? Five games we're at right now. So that's one thing it's just completely detrimental. But then on top of it, we know that Carson will make these crucial mistakes in crucial moments, but yet you continue to only put him in situations where he can make those. And something that's sticking in my head is just that interception he threw at the end of that Titans game where they were on the goal line, they were about to score. But like, once you get past the easy route of just blaming Carson Wentz, because that's the easy thing to do with this Commanders team, just blame the quarterback. And it's sad that their head coach took that route. When you think about it, why are you in this position where it comes down to one last play on the goal line and he has to make a play? So like, there are other perspectives of this. A couple of things I wanted to point out. He is about to play through an injury tonight. So he does have a bicep tendon strain. So he's about to play through an injury tonight for this team that's 1-4. He's 6-0 on Thursday Night Football. So that bodes well for Carson and his luck, at least. NFC QB touchdown leaders. He leads the NFC East in touchdowns amongst QBs right now. Mind you, doesn't have strong competition, being that Hurts and Rush are second with 4. He has 10. He has more completions than Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers right now. He has more yards than Jalen Hurts, passing yards that is, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, and Matthew Stafford right now. And he has more passing touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, and Tom Brady right now. How's this 1-4 start on?
The completion percentage has been good. Every game, just about it's been really good.
Some of it's garbage. How is this?
It's inopportune turnovers. Do not get me wrong.
They don't run the football at all. Gibson, I thought he was a good running back, man. I don't understand that shit. Like, I really don't. Every time I've seen Gibson, even when he played against us earlier this year, he was the one bright spot that actually could do something on offense. I don't understand why they won't lean on the run game. But on the other side of it,
I get Chase Young is out, but we thought this defense was in the making to be a top 10 around unit a year or two ago. They're horrifying.
They're horrible. They're horrible.
And he's the defensive-minded head coach.
We thought that he would have success here because this team had nice stability, foundation. They just needed a guy to throw the football. That's not Taylor Heineke, right? And they come in and they come out and it looks like this. It doesn't make sense to me. But on the other side, we have another quarterback that is completely controversial. That is he the guy, right? Like, was he worth that top 10 pick, top 12 pick, whatever it was for Chicago? Has 49 completions, the same amount of receptions as Cooper Kupp right now. And he's 679 passing yards so far through 5 games. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. Mind you, I have not watched a ton of Chicago Bears because I would not put myself through that.
I think all you really need to know
do they throw the ball?
I think all you really need to know is when the quarterback's passing props start at over 130, it's a problem. Granted, when we get to parlays of the game, one I sprinkled, it's a little controversial with this topic. I need a big play out of Justin Fields today to likely hit it, but it's a weird mix with this team because, Scotty, we laugh at them and what they put around him. I mean, are you kidding me? With the team that you don't have a terrible defense. You have a stable defense, it seems like. David Montgomery's a back. He's a nice piece. Yeah. Okay. You have no offensive line, and your number one wide receiver is Darnell Mooney. Remember when everyone thought Darnell Mooney was this stud wide receiver one break? Stop, man. Like, come on, guy. Like, stop trying to talk. Like, remember Eagles fans tried to say Quez Watkins was a number 2, and Quez Watkins has 3 catches through 5 weeks. Like, stop with your little. I don't know.
Yeah. Miss me with it.
Like, so it's a weird combination of Justin Fields has yet to prove himself, but also what's he supposed to prove himself with? What's the supporting cast looking like?
And so, you have to look at that, and it's hard to measure if
you have 2 wins, don't they?
They do have 2 wins, right? And
he for 3 tonight.
He can use his legs. He's a very, very quick. He's had some great runs this season so far, nonetheless, but it's hard to tell. He's been sacked 18 times, right? We talked about Carson Wentz getting sacked 20 times. The Bears' offensive line isn't much better. So I don't know. It's almost 2 situations where you feel like the quarterbacks can't even be judged fairly, right? Like both guys just kind of in terrible positions here, but how are we feeling about this game nonetheless? I don't want to harp on their pitiful quarterback situations too much, but who are you watching for in this game? What are you watching for? Is there anything interesting you find in this game aside from maybe Carson Wentz?
No, I think Rocket's good. I think that is the storyline of tonight's game. It's the fact that Washington desperately needs a win. If they lose, Ron Rivera should be on the hot seat. Carson Wentz will definitely be on the hot seat. They will not lose because of Carson Wentz tonight. I'll tell you that. I do think he shows up, and I have not put it in yet. I'm waiting on it, Scotty. Mm-hmm. It's just such a shitty game. I'm not sure I want to pull the trigger. I told you this on last week's show. Mm-hmm. I love the Commanders in this matchup. Mm-hmm. 1-point game. I really want to hammer it, but I can't find myself hammering a 1-4.
Telling you, man, there's something weird about this game, and I don't know if I refuse to hammer it either way. I think I told you earlier I was kind of leaning Chicago, but
I'm leaning Washington, man, big time.
Game record.
I don't think I can pull myself.
They both have game record offensive lines. They both have game record offensive lines, and I'm just like, who is going to get blown up tonight? Because one of these quarterbacks is going to get hit a lot, maybe both. And
my only thing is, like, Washington's really been in every game outside of week 2 against Detroit. They've been in every close game. They just haven't been able to pull one out since week 1. I don't know, man. So it's really tough. I just think if Carson can get going through the air, maybe Brian Robinson does bring a little bit of a spark and juice to the offense. I like Washington. I have about an hour to figure out what I want to do, but I think it is the way I'm leaning. But forget the game.
Yeah,
This
forget the
this
game.
game is about
Not about
finding
that.
value, and it's about finding some fun in it, right?
I got a
So
couple for you too.
Phil, I know it's crazy how we have a couple on this shitty looking game. But Phil chimed in. He's on the Washington money line.
Mhm.
Brian Robinson, anytime touchdown scorer. Terry McLaurin over 54.5. Wentz over 195. And Bates 20 plus receiving yards plus 2200. So some pretty good odds there. I'm pretty sure that's boosted as well if I remember seeing Phil's sheet on Twitter. But I have 2 in so far. I sent you the one earlier. It's just a little play. It's just something to get the odds up a bit. I have the Commanders over 9.5 total team points. I have Carson Wentz over 169.5 passing yards. And I have a David Montgomery anytime touchdown scorer. He is RB1 with the Bears. I think when you get inside the 10 and the 5, the Bears want to run the football. That can be Justin Fields, while that can be Khalil Herbert. I think David Montgomery gets the goal line carries.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping they get set up in that situation tonight and he can punch one in. I'm riding with Kilkenny, what you sent me. I had to go on FanDuel for this one. Velus Jones Jr., anytime touchdown scorer at plus 1,200. Sprinkle it if you guys want to.
Yeah.
And now this one was for some fun. So tell me what you think about this one, Scotty. I threw this in last minute before the show. So I have the alternate total. I have over 32.5 total points for the game. I have Justin Fields. Now, this is the kicker. All right, this got the odds flowing a little bit. I have Justin Fields 150 plus passing. It should not be a lot to ask out of a starting quarterback in this league at home. It shouldn't. We'll see what it looks like. I have Carson Wentz 1+ passing touchdown. I have Carson Wentz 11+ rushing yards. I have David Montgomery over 44.5 rushing yards. I have Darnell Mooney over 29.5 receiving yards. I have Terry McLaurin over 39.5 receiving yards, and I have David Montgomery touchdown plus 1,100. So $25 would pay 25 would pay 300.
I like it, man. So as far as what I've got a couple different spreads here. So my first one, I went with Velus Jones as well. Obviously, I sent that over to you. But I put that in twice. So I put it in with a few little odds raisers here. So I have a Velus Jones Jr. Anytime touchdown, Chicago Bears plus 9.5. He can. Just know that is a possibility. As wild as that sounds, with 150 yards. I was checking his game logs. It's very possible. I think he had under 100 in one game. So at his worst, he might get half of that. Nonetheless, I have Velus Jones anytime touchdown, Chicago Bears plus 9.5, Carson Wentz 200 plus passing yards. That is at plus 1769. I also threw in Velus Jones just by himself, just because he already had strong odds there. That was actually with a free bet on FanDuel that I did that parlay. And then I have another one, Washington Commanders plus 7.5. So I'm giving them more than a touchdown spread, bro. Carson Wentz 225 plus, Terry McLaurin 40 plus, Justin Fields 20 plus rushing yards, or excuse me, 25 plus rushing yards, Darnell Mooney 25 plus receiving yards, and Curtis Samuel 25 plus. That comes out to plus 449. And then finally, I just have I kind of followed your lead here with the Justin Fields wanting for, right? We want Justin Fields to have a decent night, we should say. That's not even a decent night, man. I have Justin Fields over 167.
The bar for decent for Justin Fields, or the bar for good, is so low in terms of numbers.
Like 200 would be great.
But all it takes is a play like last week where he catches Darnell Mooney down the seam for a 60-yard completion, and now that timeline, that passing yard number becomes more reasonable.
Exactly. So I got him over 167. I have him with 25 plus rushing yards, anytime touchdown, and alternate over 26.5 total points for the game. So that's my Justin Fields play. Comes out to plus 510. That I only put a little bit on that just to see if we could have some fun with Justin Fields. But I think I have just one more, which is a little bit safer. Yeah, so I have the plus 228. I have over 28.5 points, Commanders over 11.5 points, and then I have a David Montgomery touchdown. So that's where I'm coming out to that last one, but only put a little bit on that one as well. Spread it out tonight. I have no idea how this really might go, because there's a lot of different scenarios playing out in my head, and of course there is the scenario where both of these offenses can't get going. I'm hoping it's not that. I have a feeling it won't be, but you just never know with offenses.
I am not going to lie to you. I just threw down on the Commanders money line. So there's that. There's my pick for tonight. The line moved to 1.5 though, so I didn't take the spread. I would have taken the 1 and risked the push at 1. I don't care about the push. But I'm not getting beat by that little hook, that half point hook there at the end of this game. I'm not doing it. So I went with straight money line at minus 120. See if it bites me in the ass. I really hope not. But anything else tonight, man? I think that is it for this early Thursday night edition.
I think that's gonna be it, man. I got the Bears tonight, but we'll see. Got the Bears 20-17.
That is the best way to put this game. We'll see.
Looking forward to Sunday though. Got some killer matchups.
For sure, man. And as Philly fans, we are staring down the barrel of the biggest weekend in Philadelphia sports. I don't know if it's history, Scotty. I haven't dug back to, but in my lifetime, for what I can remember, this is the biggest weekend in Philly sports in my lifetime. Like, I mean, totality. Obviously, like when the Eagles play in the Super Bowl, that one thing becomes the biggest thing in all of sports. If the Sixers make it to the NBA championship, appreciate you. That would be the biggest thing. But when you're talking Philly's 2 home playoff games for the first time in over a decade against a division rival, coming home 1-1. Eagles, Dallas, Sunday night primetime at the Link, fighting for first place after a hot start. And then you got the Sixers starting on Tuesday night at TD Garden against the Celtics to kick off the entire NBA season, not just their own season. Yeah. It is a fun time. The Flyers are on right now. Not much to say on that front, my man.
Go Flyers.
Let's see. 0-0 with 13 minutes left. But with that being said, guys, that is going to wrap up this edition of NFL Turf Talk live here on DSM Media. If you're new to the channel, head on over to @DSM_Twitter. DSM_Media on Twitter. Hit that follow button. Click the link tree in our bio. We greatly appreciate it. And DSM Media is proudly brought to you by Gents Barber Lounge. Check out one of 2 great locations in Fishtown and Old City to book your appointment today. Gents owns the craft, and it shows. Rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp in the Philadelphia area, while having multiple award-winning barbers and being able to handle any style of cut, adult or kid. Here's a look at some of Gents' great work. Check them out on Twitter. Check them out at www.gentsbarberlounge.com. Again, I'll speak to book your appointment today. Again, that is www.gentsbarberlounge.com. Check our friends over at Luxodon Jewelers at shopluxodon.com for 25% off at checkout. Use promo code DSM for myself, for Scotty. That is going to wrap up this edition of Turf Talk. Have a great night.
One-on-one.